This is season number 19 of Bass Talk Live with Matt Pengrack. BTL is presented by Lowrance, Bass Cat Boats, AFTCO, Strike King Lures, Sunline, Big Bite Baits, Spro, X-Zone Lures, Gamakatsu, The Bass Tank, Denali Rods, Pro Guide Batteries, Beatdown Outdoors, Shoreline Boat and RV Repair, and Omnia Fishing. Hit him with the hook, Jeffries.
BTL coming at you.
Good morning and welcome to another exciting edition of BTL Bass Talk Live, where we are going to talk about bass fishing. Been doing a lot of BTLs lately. 2-hour show live with Dave Mercer last night. Big shout out to Dave Mercer. We gave away over $1,000 in AFTCO product on that show last night. And then yesterday morning, the man, the myth, the legend, Tommy Biffle jumped on. And if you didn't get a chance to listen to that show, dude, Tommy is such a good guy. Has a great memory of some of the dumb stuff that he used to do. I thought his greatest comment was that he wishes back in the 80s and 90s that GoPros were around, because he would probably go viral with some of the stuff that he did in a boat. Got a good show today. A buddy of mine that I'm looking forward to getting to see a little bit more on in the Bassmaster Open EQs this upcoming year. Elite Series angler, Bassmaster Open champion, MLF Invitational angler, FLW Tour champion. The guy's really accomplished a lot over the 10 plus years that he's been a professional angler. That is Casey Scanlon. And we will have Casey on from the famous Lake of the Ozarks. We'll talk about his setup. I think he's really got it figured out. He's got it together. He's literally like lives on the lake, has the ski boat for when you can't fish on it, has the fishing boat for when you can't ski on it, and just lives a life of lake luxury. Do want to point out, let me pump this up here, the Crappie Chronicles and BTL Break Your PB St. Jude fundraiser. If you are anywhere in the southern Minnesota area, coming up here February 11th, it's the day before the Super Bowl, 5 to 10 p.m. at Giesenbro Beer Company. I'm bringing over $2,000 worth of raffles. I know Adam Bartuzek from the Crappie Chronicles, all the Crappie Chronicle guys are going to be there too if you follow that series online. If you don't, check it out. It's actually cool ice fishing. Like I said, it's not like grumpy old men. It's like these guys go out and they hunt giant crappie through the ice. But Denali Android rods, AFTCO, Pro Guide batteries stepped up. They will have a $500 gift certificate to the Pro Guide battery site, a $500 Sunline pack, and a $250 Big Bite pack. All raffles have to be there. Doors open at 5. I think we're doing like a $10 entry, and you get a raffle ticket, and then like 5 for 20 after. Yeah, 5 for 20 after that. I suggested 4 for 20, and then that didn't go over. That's not a very good deal. So, all right, let's get to our guest for the day, and that is none other than Casey Scanlon. Casey, thanks for jumping on BTO.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me, Matt.
I was talking with you about this off air, and I mean, let's not kid ourselves. We're no like Gerald Swindles or KVDs or anything like that. So I always have in the back of my head, it's been like at every classic meet and greet, at every little deal that I've done, I'm like, God, I hope someone shows up. Like at least just one person. Like I always have this nightmare where I wake up and I'm like, what if nobody shows up?
Well, the good thing about this show is at least we can, maybe get them to watch the replay.
Yeah. Well, no, we got people in the show now, but I was talking about like the meet and greet stuff. Have you ever had that fear course through your body as you walk into an expo or an outdoor show where you're like, dude, I've been like pumped up as the man here. What if no one comes to see the man?
I've actually got to go to Kentucky this weekend and do a boat show for Bass Pro. I've never been to this particular one, so I'm kind of going through a little bit of that right now.
I got you. Is that still alive and well, the boat shows and the seminars? I know for a while there we talked about, well, you had COVID, which totally killed it. And it was like, hey, are these things going to make a comeback? Is it all going to go to streaming and online? But it seems like this year I've seen more guys traveling to more, like there was one up at Schaumburg. I think there was just a big one in Georgia. You're headed to Kentucky, you said?
Yeah, it seems like the last 3 or 4 weeks there's been a ton of them for sure. But I went to Kansas City last week for one. My sponsor, Wholesale Batteries, was sponsoring, and man, it was pretty cool. They had some decent attendance, but for the speakers they had, I mean, Rick Clunn was up there. A lot of guys that I would go pay to listen to, honestly. So it was a pretty cool show. But with all this stuff so easily accessible online, I think they struggle a little.
Listen, I wasn't disrespecting grumpy old men people. I was just saying it's not just like sitting there. Like the guys actually. Have you seen how they crappie fish now on the ice? Have you seen any of this where they're using the forward-facing sonar and they're drilling like hundreds of holes and covering miles of water? So you have one guy who's like a scout. So basically, he'll drill the hole, he'll drop the forward-facing sonar down. They've got it on a stick. He'll spin it around and he'll go 80 foot that way.
Really?
There's a school of them. And then some dude will shuffle out there with the drill. You'll watch the drill actually go through on the forward facing sonar. And then you can watch then you drop the Vexilar into that hole. Then you've got your guy away. He's like, yep, I see your stuff. You're right on him. Drop, drop, drop. And then you look at the 2D Vexilar. And then when you catch them, when they move, depending on how spooky they are, you just follow them all across the basin.
Following the school on the ice. That's pretty wild.
With forward-facing sonar. So by the end of it, you look and you have this massive grid of stuff where the whole school that was here is like something's going on. So they move here and then they follow them there and they have this whole trail that follows them all across the lake.
You got to be careful. Cut so many holes, you'll be on like an iceberg eventually.
Yeah, I wondered how that works. Like, I mean, at some point you got Swiss cheese, but yeah. I don't know. When I went a couple years ago, I just stayed in the back and asked dumb questions. So
yeah, the only time I went, we just hunkered down in a tent and drank a few cold ones. It was actually fun though. When they decide to bite, they swim up. It would not be as fun without the forward facing sonar or Panoptics, whatever you use. Definitely entertaining to watch them swim up and grab it.
I would have a tough time if I lived where you lived bass fishing, because Lake of the Ozarks is such a fun crappie lake too.
There's more crappie in here right now than I've ever seen. We catch them usually while we're bass fishing. So, you kind of get a double up on it. So that's pretty fun.
You guide for crappie at all or just bass?
Yeah. If they want to go crappie fishing, I'll take them out there and guide for sure. We've been doing a lot of that this winter. Like right now we catch them on jerk baits, so it's, you can do a little bit of both, but, yeah, the crappie fishing can be kind of difficult here. The way I like to catch them is shooting the docks, shooting that jig up underneath there. And, for somebody who's not experienced at doing that, I mean, even for me, it's kind of a pain in the butt in some days, but you just, pick out a small hole in the dock underneath like a swim platform or something with a bunch of shade and shoot it under there and pretty much hold your breath, because when you get a good shot, you usually catch them.
I've always been worried when it came to shooting docks that I'd go crappie jig index finger.
I surprisingly I haven't done that. I'm usually pretty good at hooking myself, but I think the rods are weak enough that it's not too bad.
Do you remember? I'm trying to think. Yeah, it was Jean LaRue when they came out with these shooter tabs, and they were like the little. Yeah, I don't know how to explain them. Little silver tabs, and then you just put it on the jig with the plastic, and then you hold the tab when you shot it.
Yeah, I got a couple, like a sample pack or something. I never tried them though, but I have seen them. They look kind of cool.
Yeah, that's good stuff. But you are right on LOZ, Lake of the Ozarks. What part of the lake in general are you in? Because that thing is massive and winding. Like you have a dock and can look out and walk down to the water, the whole 9 yards. Like you are on the lake.
I'm actually kind of like surrounded by water. I'm looking at the lake right now, but I'm actually just off the water. So I've got a dock down at a marina that I use. But yeah, I got a couple acres up here on top of a hill. It's pretty good little view in the wintertime, especially. So yeah, right
here. How long
have
you been there?
Gosh, I've been at the lake about 10 years.
Yeah.
And I've been in this house probably 4 or 5.
And then do you still have the cigarette boat?
I do. Yeah. It's down there in the arena right now, covered up, ready to go.
Dude, I had a buddy, back in Illinois who had a house at Lake of the Ozarks. He wasn't able to get down there a lot. But when he did, he had the 2 jet skis, the pontoon, and then the cigarette with like white camel leather interior.
Oh,
And so we would always like take it out and cruise, and then we would end up at all of the different establishments throughout the lake. And this was like for 4th of July and the holidays. So I fondly remember the Lake of the Ozark experience during the summer. That's a completely different animal. There's not another lake in the world that is like Lake of the Ozarks when people are on it.
Yeah, I try to tell people that it's a unique lake, a bunch of fish in here, but like in the summertime, it's you've never seen more boats out at once.
You cannot fish. Like, it is dangerous to fish. You cannot bass fish during the summertime. Like, you do not want to have a bass boat out there.
No. If it's like 9:30 in the morning, go home, because like at 10 o'clock, it's going to be a rough ride.
What is the one bar? Is it called like Lazy Gators or?
Yeah, there's a Lazy Gators and Shady Gators.
Shady Gators. There's a Lazy and a Shady?
Yes, they're same place.
Okay, is this in that big? It's like in a cut, and there's like a hotel on like one side of it with a gas dock, and then the Gators is like a.
Yeah.
Okay, so like a number of years ago, we decided to go night fishing on like a Friday night, which was also really dumb because I don't think you understand how many hundreds of boats are out here. But we got on the best big worm bite out in front of Shady Gators. Like nighttime, we're watching the club, we can hear the DJ, the music, we're out there, and it's just dong off of that point right there. We caught like 15 or 20 of them. It was one of the coolest experiences I've ever had, because I don't night fish a lot, but I've never seen fish hit so hard. Like, you could feel the vibration of the music in the water, and they were still just munching.
Yeah, they don't mind the noise. They don't mind the boats, and they definitely like to bite at night. Most of our tournaments here, the boat traffic's so bad that we don't have tournaments in the summertime here unless they're on a weekday and in the evening. You're not gonna get in a tournament on a Saturday, in June 20th. They're just
they don't exist.
Yeah. So, but you can get out on Wednesday evening and fish, and they're biting.
How bad is it going to be? I'm looking at my schedule in the end of September.
There's going to be a lot of boats out.
That's what I was thinking. I was like, that's not late enough.
Yeah, there's going to be a lot of boats out.
Like, if you make that final day, it's going to be a cluster.
Yeah, fishing on Saturday. Do we do a Saturday, Sunday now? They changed it, or
I think it was originally Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, but I think they shifted it back to Friday, Saturday, or Thursday, Friday, Saturday.
Yeah, the Friday, the Wednesday through Friday would have been better.
Like, I mean, is it gonna be fishable on September 23rd?
They have BFLs and Toyota series and stuff down here towards that time. And it's not going to be a pleasant boat ride. There are going to be plenty of pleasure boaters out there. You're going to have to slow the boat down and wait for some waves to pass by at certain points. But
worse than like a Nichols on Grand in June. Not even comparable.
Yeah. It's probably comparable. There's going to be far less boats out than normal. But if you get a nice Saturday, they're going to be out. They're going to be out.
Where does all that money come from, Casey?
I ask myself that all the time. I have no idea. No idea. All over the United States, honestly. People drive down for the weekend from Chicago and, Iowa, Illinois. I see them from all over. As you're going by the boat docks, they usually, whatever boat they have on their multiple, slip dock that's worth hundreds of thousands of dollars, but usually one of their boats will say where they're from, and I'm always like, man, that's a long ways to drive down to the lake to just enjoy the weekend. But they do it.
Probably fly.
A lot of them do. There's a lot of houses with helicopter pads on the front yard or even on top of the dock. I've seen them.
You don't get that from fishing the opens.
No. I'm trying to get a job with one of these guys as being like the lawn boy or something, but it's been a tough go.
Try to go with the lawn. You're primarily guiding now. That's your deal, right?
Yeah, we get a lot of tourism down here, so the guide business is really steady. You can guide throughout most of the spring and summer and fall as much as you want, really.
All right, let's get into some fishing talk. You're probably one of the bigger names fishing the 2023 Bassmaster Open EQs this year after a year over at FLW MLF for what, 6-7 years?
It doesn't seem that long, but I guess it was probably 5 to 6 years at least.
Here, let me pull it up.
There you go.
6 years.
Okay.
2017 through 2022.
Yeah.
Wow, that went really fast.
It really did. It all has. But that 6 years went really fast, for sure.
You made 4 championships.
Yeah.
And had a win over there and had it. But talk about what made you say, hey, I'm going to go fish all 9 opens. You've come close before. You finished 10th in the points in 2021 through the Centrals. That was a freak show year where like everyone at the top just caught the crap out of them to make it. You've dabbled in the opens before too, but what was it that made you say, hey, I'm going to come back and go all in on them this year?
There's just been a ton of changes in the fishing industry. When I started fishing bass, I was young. I had no experience fishing outside of Missouri, and qualified for the Elite Series, with basically no sponsors, and got my start that way. And it was like, man, the Elite Series was just so stout at the time and still is, but it was like all the guys I looked up to, and it was kind of a big learning experience for me. And, I've always kind of wanted a shot to go back, get in another classic and, kind of try it with a little bit more experience, and, with all the changes at FLW, obviously MLF took it over, and been a lot of rule changes and, just a lot of changes in general, and all of it they're trying to do for the good of the sport, for the good of the anglers. But I just felt like, with the invitationals now, instead of, the FLW that we were fishing.
Hey, that's horrible. I'll say it.
I didn't like it. I didn't like, I think they've changed some of the rules, but I didn't like the off limits period. I loved that they put the 30 days on the opens. That's nice.
Yeah.
I like the limiting of the practice. That's nice as well. So some of those things factored in as well. But ultimately, I kind of wanted another shot at bass, and I wanted to, want to be on the biggest stage in the sport. And that's what I feel like where it's at right now.
Have you ever seen a tournament trail that goes a 28 to 30 day off limits, but only a 5-day no info?
No. That's crazy.
Yeah. I mean, that's the way it was before. Like everyone was like, oh, well, you can have your friends and family out there practicing for you during the off limits. And I was like,
there's a lot of weird stuff, at some, they let you practice with friends and family, which.
That's how it is on the opens this year. You have to be in the tournament for practice, but it's only a 5-day no info rule.
So you can get info.
Yes, 100%.
Days.
Up until the official practice day, which is Saturday. So you can't be on the water for whatever the 28, 30 days is before each that they send us, but you can get info up until 5 days before. So it's not a no info rule.
Yeah.
Which is fine because that's been the way it is all the time. And it's been like that the last number of years. The fact that you won't have the guys on the water for 13, 14, 15 days before is the key in that.
Yeah, I agree. And all those rules, like, I wish they were all just way more cut and dry. We had a lot of them, at FLW or MLF that were like, 15-day cutoff, but, you can't get any information 30 days prior or something, but you can be on the water during that 15 days prior with a local, but you can't get any information from him. Like, there was just like all sorts of rules that just didn't make sense. But I like the 30 days, and I usually don't get info, and probably won't get much this upcoming year. It doesn't seem to help me. So if guys want to get it, then
I have gotten some info on Lake of the Ozarks, and I've been told that if I find docks to fish them,
well, you won't have any problem finding those.
I was told to target the docks, Casey. So
that's
what are you laughing at? You don't like my info? I'm trying to give you a nugget during the show, and you're laughing at my face.
It's a great tip for sure. There's a ton of them.
I mean, do you not feel? I was told that at least half of the top 10 would probably come off docks.
And they will probably, maybe all of them. It's hard to find bank anymore, especially since COVID. Like they just built every little piece of land around here is getting built on right now. So. For
those who have not been to Lake of the Ozarks, how would you explain the situation on the majority of them? I mean, you can run up some rivers and get away from it and actually feel like you're fishing bank, but how would you describe the majority of Lake of the Ozarks?
Yeah, I'm gonna say 100+ miles filled with big creeks of just floating boat docks, big ones, anywhere from the small little 1 or 2 slip well dock to one that you could put 200 people on and 20 boats. They're just, most of the boat docks have a 30 or 40 foot cruiser or cigarette boat or a pontoon boat with 4 engines hanging on the back of it. It's a different place. So most of the time people are here to use it for recreation. They're out here swimming, partying, running around, burning gas, skiing. But I think that's what really helps protect the fishery. You got cables strung up everywhere.
I'm showing it to the people right now. I don't even know where I am.
You're right. This is house. It looks like.
Am I really?
I zoom out a little bit. No.
I just went mid lake.
Yeah.
Because this over here has got to be what, PB2 over here.
Yeah, that's right where we're launching. That's the mouth of the glaze right there. So,
okay, but look, you can zoom in anywhere on this lake, people. Anywhere on the lake. It does not matter. Look at this.
Yeah, it all looks like that. And those areas that he's zooming in on, I mean, you can spend a whole day right there in that creek.
That's not even a creek. That's just a little cut. I mean, I know that. I mean, they're everywhere. Hey, you want to go over to this side?
Yeah. So I'm in the cove, right? So if you go right next door, that's where I'm at.
Right here?
To the left.
Right here?
Yes.
Really?
Right there on that secondary point, about midway back on the right.
Right here?
Yes.
That's where you are right now.
Come back a little bit. Next point down. That's it. Right there.
That's kind of shaped like a gingerbread man. Have you ever seen that? There's the head, there's the arm, there's the other arm, there's the legs.
I'm seeing it now.
Yeah, you're a gingerbread man. But yeah, the docks are absolutely insane on this lake, folks. And like I said, you can zoom out and go to any portion of the lake that you want. And then even when you get up the river, like you'll have a little bit of bluff and stuff that doesn't have it. But
yeah, it's wall-to-wall boat docks. It's, if you like fishing boat docks, it's a great place to live.
That's like when I went to Lake Norman, guys were like, God, this is overwhelming with all the docks. And I'm like, really? I mean, hell, you spent a couple days on Lake of the Ozarks, and that's got to be the most docked lake in the country.
Yeah. When you say like go find an isolated dock, you're talking like one that's like 50 feet from another one.
Do they do the same thing on Grand there where you sink the good stuff in between the docks where it's hard to get to?
It's everywhere. The whole lake. I mean, like we put out brush all the time, but everybody does. There's so much of it. I mean, if you go down, there's almost too much right now, in my opinion. But they put it everywhere. They get creative with it for sure. But no shortage of it. Not hard to find.
All right, we're going to take our first break of the show. When we come back, you mentioned that you wanted to get into another classic. I want to go back and revisit that 2013 classic on Grand. That would be the Game Face Cliff Pace Classic.
Yeah.
Ice cold, bitterly cold. I remember on Bass Zone back then, we were deep into the articles and the print. I believe you were my dark horse pick to win the Classic that year. Because you had at the time, I think you had a Kansas residency.
Yeah.
You had, I think you had a bunch of different guys in that Classic who were from it. And I think you flew under the radar, but probably put in more legwork, effort, and was more familiar with that lake than anyone realized. So we'll go back a decade and revisit that. It is BTL on a Tuesday with Casey Scanlon from Lake of the Ozarks. We'll be back right after this.
Introducing HDS Pro. Watch fish reacting to your lure live with Active Target 2. Get game-changing clarity in the megahertz range with the new Active Imaging HD sonar. Find the richest fishing spots with CMAP's charts. Take full control of your boat with the ultimate fishing system. HDS Pro. The more you see, the more you catch.
The new Puma STS has been redesigned from the ground up. With the angler, design, function, and performance in mind, nothing on this new offering was compromised, and the only thing carried over from the previous version is the name. Based on the Soft Touch series hull that started with the flagship Jaguar, this new model is nimble and performs incredibly well at all speeds with either a 250 or 300 horsepower engine. Featuring a new 96-inch wide-body footprint, this hull measures out at 20 foot 7 inches in length. Industry-leading design coupled with tournament-winning performance. The Puma STS from Basscat. Feel the rush.
Everything you need, one legendary brand. Top one on Strike King.
Hey guys, Gerald Swindle representing the AFCO Hydronaut. This is the jacket I love wearing when times is tough, and I'm talking about the weather, not the fishing. The jacket, what I like, I got a double cup right here. I can seal up the bottom of my jacket because when you're fishing, you're holding your arms up. You're bad about getting water that runs downhill. Everything bends good. I'm long arm. Look, it fits very comfortable. My arms is flexible. I've got the speed hood on, pouring down rain. I can get everything zipped up. One thing they did is they made plenty of pocket space. If you ain't got enough pockets in the Hydronaut rain suit, you just got too much stuff. From the water membrane, that's 30K, baby. 30 times the reason you ain't gonna get wet. Super warm. If it's cold in the wintertime, you put on your Hydronaut, you're gonna be a much more comfortable person. If you don't want to just look sexy at Dairy Queen, wear your Hydronaut. We got it from small to 5X. Most rain gear does not come in that many sizes. You got waist adjusting straps. We can make it fit you no matter what the environment is. We want you to be comfortable. We want you to be dry. You gotta check it out. It ain't gonna let you down.
Elite Series Pro Daryl Gleason here. My Pro Guide batteries keep me going on those long tournament days and long practice days. Always plenty of juice, never fail. The best part about Pro Guide batteries, it's the people behind the company. They have over 40 years experience in the battery business, keeping all of us fishermen out on the water longer, catching more fish. Check them out at ProGuideBatteries.com.
What's up, Bass Talk Live fans? Brandon Polnick here. And ever since I won a couple Bassmaster Elite Series events on X-Zone Lures, I've been getting a bunch of questions of what makes them so special and different. And really, the truth is, it's in the details. The little details, things like no cheap fillers in their plastic. That gives you more lifelike action, more realistic and vibrant colors. But don't just take my word for it. Go to www.xzonelures.com and check them out for yourself.
I'm the kind of guy that never leaves the house without a pocket knife, and Gamakatsu's come out with the EDC series of knives. EDC stands for Everyday Carry, so whether you're on the water or off, you can always have it with you. The best thing about it to me is that assisted open feature. With this D2 blade, you've got it right here at your fingertips, so if you can't find your scissors, you need to cut a knot, you need to cut your braid, you've always got it. Make sure you check it out. Never leave home without your Gamakatsu EDC knife.
Preparation is key to success. And that preparation starts well before you ever hit the water. You're only as strong as your connection to the fish, and your line is that critical connection. Confidence in your line every minute of every day on the water is a necessity, and failure, it's not an option. Sunline makes the fluorocarbon, nylon, and braided lines to give you the strength to guarantee your confidence.
All right, welcome back, BTL on a Tuesday. We good, Casey?
We're good.
All right. That was some chaos that happened during the commercial break there.
Yeah, I don't know what happened.
Did someone text you or call you or something?
No, it was probably just my fault. I probably touched something wrong on the screen there.
Yeah. Hey, let's do a little BTL educate, entertain, and engage. The three E's. Let's hit the educate. Let's say you live on a lake that has a lot of docks on it. And just in general, let's do spring, because that's what's coming up, right? I'm not trying to glean any info for the fall here, but if you have a dock laden fishery in the spring, how are you approaching that using the docks to where you don't feel overwhelmed?
So I would approach it just like any other lake, to where you're going to look at where the fish are going. So the fish are trying to spawn. So I'm going to look for docks in creeks. I'm going to look for docks, situated in pockets, and look for those fish that are going to move up and stage on them. Secondary points are always key as well. But a lot of times the fish this time of year, at least the ones that are going to bite, get pretty shallow on the dock. So I like to focus on, stuff on a little bit steeper banks for the most part, especially early in the spring, and then try to focus on the bank side of the dock, the shallower portion.
The wigglewort style rock crawler, that style of bait, has it made a comeback since the A-rig has actually become part of everyone's arsenal, or is it still like an A-rig only deal on Lake of the Ozarks in cold weather?
A lot of our tournaments, we can't throw it in the winter. A lot of the local ones, at least the bigger ones, some of them don't allow it. But yeah, it dominates when you can throw it. But the wiggle wart is still the wiggle wart or rock crawler, or I'm throwing a tackle HD crankhead, which is about the same. And they all work well. They're even working right now. It's anywhere from 38 to 42 degrees water.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, they bite it. They're pretty active. If they're up shallow, they'll eat it.
Hey, did you do that tournament? I'm not sure if you did or not. The golf or fins and skins deal that was up there. Yeah, that
golf fishing tournament. We've done that for several years now. Pretty fun event.
What is that? I just saw little bits of it, and it looks like it's fantastic.
Yeah, the weather that time of year is always the biggest struggle. But basically, fish for 2 days, golf for a day. You have, it's similar to the fish and chips that we did, and how fun were. So same kind of deal. We have a live auction before the tournament starts, where the amateur will bid on the pro, and so that's kind of where we get the money for the tournament. So we all go for way too much money.
How much did you go for?
Several thousand.
Did Sakura fish it?
Yeah.
Did you go higher than Sakura?
I don't think so. He usually has a guy that's gonna buy him every year. It's been arranged.
As much money as he makes on that lake, you think he'd be able to afford sleeves?
Yeah, no.
Just vest all the day, every day. Vest
and visor.
Yeah, no top of the hat, no sleeves. Ample mobility.
It works for him, I guess.
But that looks on the outside like a really cool event.
I mean, the guys, it gets crazy in there. Guys are going for $5,000-$6,000. It's a pretty good tournament to win. But ultimately, you have to golf well, and so they'll give you a golf pro, which will help your score. Of course, we really lean on the golf.
Was it 50% fishing, 50% golf, or
I'd have to look at it. It's more heavily weighted towards the fishing, I'd say. But it always comes down to the golf score. You got to knock down putts, and you got to golf well, because a lot of the guys are really, really talented golfers, which catches you a little by surprise. They can golf and fish. So,
let's talk 2013 Classic. We talked about this before. Grand is you're one of your home lakes. when you call it? I mean, you're not that far from it.
I love fishing Grand. It feels like a home lake. I'm not terrible close to there, but fished it a lot and reminds me of Lake of the Ozarks.
And when we were getting into this, you're talking about how you wanted to get back, try to make another classic and stuff. And I remember that was the one classic, which do you ever just sit back and be like, dude, I don't care what I do the rest of my career. I fish in the Bassmaster Classic.
You know, I mean, it's a goal for everybody, right? So it's kind of one of those moments when you get there, it's like, this is it. And it's such a cool tournament. You know, I've been to cups and, you know, a lot of big events, but that one's pretty special. It's a lot of fans, you know, big expo and, you know, a lot of bright lights and big stage. You know, it's a cool tournament coming into that arena.
We're a decade past this tournament now, but I remember when I was getting ready for the show and invited you to come on, I remember talking with you about how much work you put in to getting ready for that 2013 Classic, the Cliff Pace Classic.
Yeah.
Do you remember everything that you did there? If I remember, you had hundreds of piles out.
Yeah, well, Jared Miller, I had bought a brush boat from Jared maybe a year or something before. And so I had a family friend that had a lake house down there. So me and my buddy, we, you know, we didn't have a whole lot going on. We're young in our 20s. So we went down there and, you know, got a couple pallets of cinder blocks and sunk as many trees as we could, you know, and it was fun. I probably spent 40 days down there before
getting ready for the tournament before off limits.
Yeah.
So 40 days, like 40.
Yeah, this was in the fall. I remember, you know, it was probably sometime around Thanksgiving where it goes off limits or something. Because I remember being out there on Thanksgiving Day. So sinking brush. But yeah, we probably stayed down there for 40 straight days and, you know, fished and mostly put out brush. But yeah, leading up to that Classic, I was catching them really, really good. And we were talking earlier, you know, that cold front was really cold. It was one of the colder days I've fished, tournament days. And, you know, for whatever reason, those fish didn't bite for me. I don't know if it was nerves, you know, being 10 years ago, I was young and felt like going into that tournament, I was going to win. So it was, you know, it was an exciting event. Didn't turn out the way I wanted it, of course, but I definitely put in the legwork.
So are you going to do the same thing for the Open on LOZ? Or, I mean, do you have that kind of dialed like it's just a matter of making decisions this year?
Yeah, you know, brush works down here, and I'll probably fish it in that tournament too. But no, I'm not going to put out a bunch of piles specifically for that. You know, that's a time of year down here. Actually, probably my favorite time of year to fish. September here, October here at Lake of the Ozarks. There's so much going on, and it's one of those times where it does pay to be a local. You know, I mean, they get on specific things and just, you know, have been on the same, you know, dock or brush pile or whatever it is for years. So it's going to be, you know, I'll run a lot of history and hope to find a couple little patterns to go along with it. But it's going to be, you're going to really have to mix it up in that one.
Otherwise, schedule, we got into a little disagreement via text because I said, thank God we're not starting down in Florida. And you said, I'm very upset that we're not starting down in Florida. And I said, you're a psychopath because Florida like destroys a quarter of the guys before they even get out of the state in the season. Like you're like, hey, I'm ready for the season. And you just finished 180th. Yeah. Like I think Florida is so sketchy. Like you start out on the Harris chain. Let's be honest. You start out on the Harris chain. You have spent all year. You're committed to $40,000 for the Open. You've got your boat wrap. You're posting on the social media. You're holding your 6-pounders from practice, and you're going, okay, I got Griffin this way and a Popka this way. And if I pick the wrong one, my season's over in 8 hours. Yeah. Like that's the only place in the country where you could just do a complete screw job for your entire year.
I will agree with you there. And I've done it. I've done it as well.
It's the sickest feeling because you know what's happening when it's happening. I did it on the Harris chain. I got into Lake Griffin and I went, I'm 2.5 hours from any other decision. I was already a boat 100, and if I catch 10 pounds, it'll be a Christmas miracle.
Yeah, Harris Chain in particular is probably the toughest place. One of the best fisheries in Florida, but so many decisions, a lot of idling time, a lot of running time.
Yeah.
That one's a tough one.
Oh, what a great canal. Look at the gnomes. Look at all the birds. Oh, now I only have 3 hours to fish.
It's especially like 3 or 4 practice days at the most, and you got 9 lakes to choose from or whatever it is.
Yeah.
It's a daunting task. But in general, Florida's been really good to me. I fished my first Elite Series tournament in Florida, and the night before, I was scared to death. I wanted to cry and get home, but I caught a 10-pounder, and it saved my tournament, and it was a good start to my career. So,
wait, your first Elite Series ever, you caught a 10-pounder in?
I did.
That had to be you had to be jacked out of your gourd.
Yeah, I had we were at St. John's River when it had grass, and I had several of them marked that I thought were 10 or bigger. But there was a lot of guys fishing in that area, and I watched Todd Faircloth. She was basically he was sitting on top of that fish.
Were you down in George in the eelgrass?
Yep, he was sitting on top of that fish and right next to a couple others, and he was just it was early in the morning, you couldn't see, and he's fan casting out there, catching everything that swam, And I had 0 in the box at 10, 11 o'clock, and I'm starting to think that maybe not the best career choice. And he packed up and went somewhere else, and the sun started getting up where you could actually see what was down there. And I put the trolling motor on high and went over there and looked, and she was sitting right there where I left her, and took about 10 minutes, and I caught her. So thanks, Todd.
Were you shaking?
Oh yeah. The frame on it was huge, so I didn't know how big it was, but yeah, it was pretty good.
I'm looking at this tournament. I forgot about this. Who ended up winning this? Was this the Alton tournament?
I don't know. I think that day I was like,
it was Alton. Todd finished second in that event by less than a pound. If he had that fish, he wins by 7 pounds over Alton.
Yeah.
That was Alton on the purple dinger.
Yeah. I'm telling you, man, that Lake George was awesome. I think that day I thought I could get big bass. I think Hackney had a 13 something.
No.
I think so.
No, I would have known if Greg weighed in a 13.
I think he had a 13 the first day, or a heavy 12.
I remember this. This is when I knew that things were serious, when KVD was pulled down bed fishing in the eelgrass. I'd never seen him do that. He was in a crowd doing the same thing as everyone else.
Yeah. It's amazing how many of them will get in.
The first time we ever went down there, that the Elite Series did, at least, I remember Rojas didn't have power poles yet. He was holding out. I guess he was one of the original guys to have power poles. And then he was business decision. I'm taking him off until they're like, hey, we'll make it worth your while to put him back on. This is kind of when everyone had one, and then guys would be like, hey, it's a overkill for 2. And then you'd be like, yeah, but I don't spin like a top. He would do, did you ever see he had a 2 anchor and a pole system?
Yeah.
For the bed fish. You do a anchor on the back corner, an anchor on the front cata corner, and then you take your push pole and jam it through your trolling motor cable.
Yeah, I like that technique. I think Hallman had a device like that on the front of his boat where he can jam a pole through there.
Yeah, a little cylindrical thing that would stick, so it was basically like a power pole up front.
Yeah,
that's smart. No, I didn't realize you caught a 10 in your first event. But you like starting in Florida. You wish you were starting next week in Florida for the Opens.
Yeah, for one, it's warm. It's 20 degrees out here. But it's nice to kind of get down there, get a jump start on spring. And I've been able to, we usually start our season down there. Whatever circuit I've been on has usually started down there. And, I've been able to, since it's wintertime, guiding's a little slow, I've been able to, usually stay an extra week and fish around or, do things like that. And so I've become pretty familiar with the Florida fisheries, and I probably do better there than I do most anywhere else, honestly.
Fair enough.
I missed a couple checks down there, and I've had one of your dreaded, nearly last place finishes as well. But
did you know it at like 9 a.m. too, that it was just that you had just made a horrible life decision and that it was all downhill, or did you still hold out hope?
This was a bizarre story, and I don't even know what happened. So my co-angler, I went and parked on a bunch of offshore hydrilla, and I fished it the first day and, caught a limit, didn't do great, needed to really step my game up. So I went out there, decided to fish a worm around it a lot slower. My co-angler catches maybe 27 pounds behind me, I think. Mark Howard is his name. He's from Texas. I honestly carried his fish up for him. I zeroed. I hooked.
What?
Yeah, I hooked one that was probably a 10-pounder, but it was like, and it straightened my hook out. But I had just an isolated patch of grass out there, and I sat on it all day. And we casted the same worm. At one point in time, he had like 2 8-pounders and a limit, and I hadn't even had a bite. And I'm like, dude, like I took his setup in my hand. I changed line. I put on like 12-pound line instead of the 20 that I was throwing, thinking maybe that was the difference. And we threw the exact same setup all day, and he caught 2 limits of fish, and I didn't catch any. I think my worms were soaked in gasoline or something, but
that is a confidence shatterer.
It was the worst day. The worst day. I mean,
and you can't be mad at did he ever like sit down and be like, hey, I'm going to eat a ham sandwich for 20 minutes here just to give you a chance?
Honestly, he made like a 3 or 4 pound call at the very end of it. He's sitting out there and we're talking at this point. I'm like, yeah. I was so frustrated. I'm like, I'm staying on this spot until I catch one, and he throws out there and me and him are talking, and I see his rod lean over, like one's got it in its mouth. And he kind of looks at me and I'm like, dude, get him. He wasn't even going to set the hook on it.
Oh, really? That's when it's bad when your co-angler is in I had that happen this year once, and he goes, do you want me to set? And I'm like, yeah, you're in the damn tournament. Set the hook, dude.
That was the same scenario. He wasn't even going to set the hook, and it was another like 7 or 8 pounder. It was.
So, dude, I had one on the Red River where my I think he was second after the first day. And he was like, hey, is it legal for me to bird dog? Like, can I fish without hooks? And then if one blows up, I can be like cast over there. And I was like, this is how I know I've reached a new low when you get your butt kicked that bad, where the guy's like,
he needs to help you.
He's like, can I assist you, sir? He was a good dude. I'm trying to think of the one. I had one just like that on, shockingly enough, Lake of the Ozarks. All right. Yep. I zero day 1 on Lake of the Ozarks in October of 2019. Remember that tournament?
I do remember that one.
I think you caught him pretty good. I zero day 1. I'm trying to get to my co-angler here. Day 1 co-angler. My co-angler, I can't remember his name. I want to say he was in the top 5 for sure. Older gentleman, gets in my boat, has like 2 or 3 rods. One of them it's a round old Abu 5600 with mono on it. Takes a whopper plopper out of the package, ties it directly on. I've got the braid with the long rod with the soft tip. I've got the Chapo that's tweaked out with a little bit of feather. I've got the juice. Guy asked for a sit down seat. He proceeds to get 3 bites behind me on a whopper plopper for 12 pounds, including a 6-pounder. Goes 3 for 3 and is in the top 5 of the co-angler. Says he's fished this thing as a co-angler every event. He said, I'm the best guy he's ever fished with. I proceed to zero, never have a bite the entire day, and got absolutely drilled. Yeah. He would reel that thing. He fished it, and I was like, I don't have anything to worry about. Like, the tail wasn't even turning hardly. I thought it was like broken out of the package. He'd just be like, bloop, bloop, boo-loo, and he'd just put it on his leg, and he'd have a big bow in the line, and it would just, I mean, with the Chapo, I'm up there going, like, I mean, I fished it way too fast, I think. That was my problem. And, dude, they would come uncorked on it. On his, not mine.
That always hurts. Especially when you're throwing a topwater. You know,
the same top. I mean, both he was throwing the loon plopper and I was throwing the black chopper, which of course after his second 4-pounder, I went to a loon whopper plopper and started crawling it. And then the 6-pounder was just the icing on the cake.
Yeah. You know, after the first one, you're like, that was just a fluke. And like 3 or 4 or 5-pounders into it, you're like, maybe there's something.
Yeah, and I was hopping points with Watson and didn't realize it was Watson. He was in a weird boat. And I was like, what? This guy's like always one freaking ahead of me. So then I get one ahead of him. And then he came in and was in the top 5 after that day. So literally everyone around me was just crushing 4 and 5-pounders. And I never had a bite the whole day.
Yeah, that's a frustrating event that time of year. I've done the same thing in that event every time I've had it here. Had those co-anglers catch some behind you that you brought your lure past, and it hurts when you don't get a lot of bites. And they're usually big. I mean, the fish here are usually pretty quality when you do catch one.
Oh, Curly said, I met you in the back of Watson on day 2 LOZ. You came in on me and threw a trap around me. I remember that. They were schooling in the back there. Sorry, Curly. I wasn't trying to cut you off. Clearly, I was not fishing for anything on day 2, except for pride.
Oh, I thought he was talking to me. I'm like, I don't throw a trap.
No, I did. I remember day 2, I caught all 3 of my fish on a trap.
There you go.
Oh, he said, I got a picture with you. I vividly remember that. That was the highlight of my tournament. I'm fishing it. He goes, hey, are you Matt from BTL? And I was like, by God, someone recognized me. I had zeroed. It was ice cold. I hadn't caught crap. My co-angler had been killing me. I do remember that. That was awesome. That was a cool deal. So he's like, hey, can I get a picture? I was like, absolutely. Come on over. See, and I only had 3, and Curly said he won his club classic out of that set. That was just a bad tournament for me, Casey.
Nice. Yeah, we have those.
Just a bad tournament. All right. What else? If people want to keep up with you, what else do you have going on? This is your opportunity to push product, promote social media, anything that you would like to.
Yeah, check out my Facebook and Instagram. I post on there pretty regular, and my website. So it's Casey Scanlon Fishing at Facebook and Instagram, and then it's CaseyScanlonFishing.com if you are interested in booking a guide trip or checking out any of my sponsors. Been trying to do the YouTube thing. I'm not very good at editing though, but I've been doing a fishing report on there. So
there you go.
There you go.
Look at that. We didn't even get into any of the Champlain stuff. I kind of wanted to get into that because that's, I think, probably if I was to pick like the top 5 funniest / iconic moments in FLW tour history, I would have to say that your the kayakers on Champlain.
Yeah,
I wish that's seared into my memory.
There was hundreds of them.
Really? It wasn't just the ones?
No.
Explain that to the listeners who don't remember what happened. You're leading the tournament, or was it the final day?
I think it was
third day.
Third day, but up there in the top 3, they've got a camera in my boat. They've got a camera boat behind me, with another camera in it and, reporter, whatever. And I'm fishing, all alone out there on a little point of grass. And, I look behind me, and a mile away, there's kayakers coming, like a huge group of these kayakers. And they're like over a mile away behind me. And so they apparently just were going to drive between me and the bank.
I've showed it right now.
So they're actually right now, they're on the front side and back side of me. Like I'm having to cast in between them. I almost hit a guy with a jig right there, it looked like. But like they're on both sides of me. And, and most of them are like, teenagers. It's like probably some camp or something. But there's 20 adults in there leading them. And it was just funny. You know, like the very last guy through was like, "Oh, are we in your way?" And I was just like, "No, dude, just it's all good."
I did not realize there were that many around. I mean, look at that. Look at that visual. That's one of the funniest. I mean, I remember like that is one of the funniest things that I have ever seen in a bass fishing tournament.
Yeah. I mean, like right after this, I think I just had to stand there for a minute and put my hands on my hips and just watch them pass. You know, I mean, there was that many of them.
There's a kid there just balancing.
Yeah. The guys filming it, I mean, I could hear them behind me. They were cracking up the entire time. They couldn't believe it. It was funny. That's actually they sent me a bunch of stuff, video and stuff after the tournament. I'll have to look up and see if I have it still.
You got guide dates open for this winter, early spring, if anybody wants to get on with you?
Yeah, absolutely. We got a lot of open dates here and there. So
you do the jerkbait forward facing sonar thing. If they want to learn how to do that, check a jerkbait.
Oh yeah.
All that.
Yeah. You know, some days they eat it, some days they don't, but you definitely get a look at a lot of fish run up and stare at your bait. That's for sure.
That's good stuff. Yeah. Well, I was sitting there and I was like, man, I need to get Casey on the show. I haven't had him on for a while. So
yeah, man, I'm glad you did. It was good talking to you. It's been a little while.
Yeah, absolutely. I will see you at Eufaula in Alabama. And well, just if you haven't paid your deposits, they are due by 5:30 today. $1,000 to get the rest of your deposits in for the Eufaula Open.
Honestly, thank you for reminding me. I think I probably need to do that.
Yeah, that's on my to-do list after the show.
All right, cool. Well, one more thing to add to mine as well.
All right. Thanks, Casey. Have a good one.
Thanks, dude. Thanks for having me on.
All right. That was Casey Scanlon. Good dude. Yeah, check him out. Fun day in the boat with him. If you're in that Ozark area, this is the time of the year. It's a really cool dynamic fishery. Those big creamy bass that like only the Ozark fish can get. You can learn a lot from that and have a good time. If I were you, here's what I would do. I would do a split day. I would learn how to do I would do the forward facing sonar with the jerk bait. I'd be like, hey, show me some jig stuff because Casey's really good with the small jig there. And then I'd be like, let's go catch a dozen crappie. And then you can drop me off at the bank and I'll go home. So, all right, we're going to take a break. When we come back, new feature for BTL in 2023. Dave Rush from Best on Tour is going to join us to break down some of the top statistics of the month that we're seeing in Best on Tour, and then also talk a little bit about a BOT giveaway. So Dave Rush from Best on Tour next Tuesday, January 31st. This is BTL. We will be back right after this. Have you considered purchasing new electronics for your rig? The type of mounts you choose to protect your investment should be part of the decision-making process. No matter if you prefer 1, 2, or 3 graphs up front, Beatdown Outdoors has a solution for you. Adjustable, versatile, rigid, and made in the USA. What's your ultimate electronics setup? Check out the full selection of Beatdown Outdoors products by visiting beatdownoutdoors.com.
Are you looking to install your own fishing electronics? The solution is the Bass Tank Power Harness. It takes the guesswork out of installation. No more voltage issues or interference. Designed by an engineer so that you can get professional results right there in your own garage. Installation done right with the help of the Bass Tank Power Harness. You can feel confident knowing that your installation was done right. The Bass Tank Power Harness. Give us a call or order yours today at thebasstank.com.
Get the best patterns backed by tournament data. Start by finding the best 10% of your lake. Know exactly what to look for and what to throw. After that, just put them in the boat. Try the Deep Dive app today.
Look at that beast right there.
Having confidence in your tackle while on the water is one of the main things to success, in my opinion. In the last couple of years with Denali, I've had just that. From anything from spinning rods, casting rods, tungsten products, even now to casting and spinning reels. I have the confidence to go out there and get the job done and know that all my equipment is going to handle it and do it just the way I want it. The thing about Denali is you've got great quality products at a great price point, so make sure you check them out.
All right, welcome back to BTL. It is now time to go to Dave Rush from Best on Tour, who is joining us from his spacious home in South Carolina. What's up, Dave?
What's up, Matt? How you doing?
Good. Do you remember the Casey Scanlon deal with the kayakers back in the day?
I do remember that, and it was taking me back when you guys were discussing the St. Johns River, Florida tournament. I remember that one vividly. A lot of things happened there.
Jeffries actually has his hands on Alton's dinger from that event. he actually has that purple dinger with the straight shank hook still in it, because I remember Alton snelled it. And I thought that was the coolest thing ever, because he cut the winning bait off and Jeffries has it. So it's still got the weight, the bobber stop, and the dinger attached.
Yeah, I remember
it's
that.
in his trophy room.
I think that was one of the first times I was thinking back. I think that was one of the first times I experienced a Panger meltdown, not a Jeffries meltdown.
In Florida?
Yeah, in Florida. I believe it was that tournament. You and I were out shooting that eelgrass flat, and I was taking the pictures, and some setting or something was off on the camera that you were neither one of us realized, and we got back.
I kind of remember it. Everything was blurry.
Money fish landing pictures of these giants, and every one of them was just a little bit blurry. And I remember Jeffries was like, no big deal, man. Let's go get dinner. And you just like went nuclear. Because
I remember that.
You needed a picture for something. I don't remember exactly what it was.
And I was so happy that I'd actually got it. That was back. I mean, Jeffries literally brainwashed me into believing that like every picture and every article was like just a revolutionary, groundbreaking Bass Zone exclusive.
Yeah. I mean, it's funny you say that. I've been in the off season. There really is no off season, but I've been going through hard drives and trying to clean stuff up and organize it. And you come across all those pictures and they're cool to look at, but you really can't use them for anything anymore, because all the guys have changed, looks and sponsors. And, it's kind of cool to kind of go back and think about the times, the experiences and the moments, but, really for useful purposes, there's not much.
There is. Yeah. You've witnessed most of my meltdowns had to do with traffic or parking.
Yeah, definitely parking meltdowns for sure. But yeah, remember that one. I think that's the deal where you and I finally realized that all the bass fishermen in Palatka, Florida have the same build, and we determined that it was
stocky, barrel chested, gold chain, chest hair, 3 buttons down, Columbia angler shirt tucked in, shorts 1.5 inches above the thighs, either the Jerusalem Cruisers or the Crocs, and the build is basically what happens if you just push pulled your way around Florida flats for 3 decades.
Push pull, and I forget, the guy we had that time was a gambler, dual console gambler.
It is. They're always go fast boats, and they're like 23 foot long too. They're not like 18, 19 footers.
Yeah, and wherever we put in to where we went was 80 plus the whole time.
I remember that. He was mowing over crab pots.
Mowing them.
I mean, like angling for the crab pots.
Yeah, well, that's where the deeper water is, right?
Yep.
If you live around the coast, a lot of times guys put the crab pots in deeper water, so it's a way to kind of follow the channel. So probably an old Florida trick there.
All right. You are in charge of Best on Tour, which is a free newsletter that covers everything in the industry: polls, stats, articles, interesting things that go on. You can sign up for bestontour.net. They are my title sponsor for the 2023 Bassmaster Opens, back for a 3rd season. So I obviously have a vested interest in it, but there's always something in every episode that I'm like, that's interesting. So what I wanted to do with you was get you on the last show of every month to talk about what you thought was probably one of the most interesting stats that was featured on the weekly Best on Tour newsletter. Bestontour.net. Sign up for free. They don't spam you. They don't send you anything else. Literally just an industry newsletter, especially if you're an analytical stats guy like me. So what stat are we working with? What stat are we working with this week, Dave?
Well, I thought I'd give you a little preview of what's going to come out on Thursday. You know, not a lot of tournaments going on. First one of the year kicked off at Sam Rayburn, Dakota Eber, you know, picking up right where he left off, finally getting the win, but that guy's been on fire lately. But top 10 finishing baits at the Sam Rayburn Toyota Series. What I did was broke them down into percentages, give everybody an idea of kind of how it all played out there, man. I mean, no surprise with the A-Rig, 23% of the field using it, 57% baits mentioned in the top 10 involving soft plastics. But just a quick little breakdown there of the top 10 finishing baits for the Toyota Series. As the season goes on, we're obviously going to have a lot more data to work with. You know, we're going to see what guys are running this year, what boats, what trucks, what motors, what electronics, so on and so forth. And as the season kicks off, these stats will get more in depth and we'll have a lot more to talk about. But yeah, just a quick little rundown there, the top 10 finishing bait. Anything
wow, that's surprises me. Yeah, 57% of the baits that involve soft plastics. Now that included the 23% on the A-Rig, correct?
Yeah, that included.
Okay, but still almost 60%. I was very surprised at how many different baits for such an early season tournament played in the top 10 for one. Like I said, you've got jerkbait, jigging spoon, crankbait, shaky head, swim bait, football head, A-Rig, lipless, and Carolina rig. And I think if you had asked people even 5 years ago about this, they'd be, well, it'll be 100% Alabama rig. The things where, you know, I should outlaw that. But you could throw the Alabama rig, and yes, it was one on it. But look at how many other tactics also played on Rayburn. Now, I understand. I know Rayburn is a very diverse fishery, but if you were to give me that poll before, I'd say I could see a jigging spoon, an A-Rig, and a jerkbait.
Yeah, interestingly enough, too, if you look at it, you know, there's obviously tons of talk, forward-facing sonar, changing everything. You know, some of those baits typically are things you're not going to think are going to play too much with a forward-facing sonar. I'm not saying that people aren't using it with a crankbait, but that's not really a big forward-facing sonar bait, and that's second highest finishing bait there in the top 10. 17% of the guys in the top 10 using a crankbait. So kind of interesting stuff going on there at Rayburn. Good place to kick off the year, though. Can't recall one recently that they haven't had a weather delay, though. Can you? I mean, it seems like every year.
No, I mean, I'm not going to rip on weather delays. I'd rather everyone be safe and miss a day of fishing.
Oh, absolutely. It's just, you know, volatile time of year.
That'd be a stat for the last 5 years. How many weather delays there have been, Dave? I'd be interested in knowing that. What percentage of the days? There it is right there. bestontour.net. So think of fishingnet.net. And I mean, this is just the main thing. You just put your name in, your email, you click sign up, and you're done. Totally free.
Couple things going on, man. We've gotten a lot of requests for our subscribers and people who aren't subscribed to be able to go back and read all of the archived issues. That's a new feature that's about to launch on the website. We will have all of our issues. I think this week's issue is number 205 or 206. So pretty crazy to think you start something from nothing and you're on, you know, over 200 issues. But all those will be available. That's free. Don't even have to subscribe to go there and read the issues. That will be free access there. You can go back, look at all the stuff we've done over the past couple of years. And, you know, we're just going to keep moving this year, man. Got a new look for 2023, kind of revamped the look of the newsletter. Definitely listening to subscriber feedback and making some changes where necessary, and looking forward to seeing how everything plays out in 2023.
That's good stuff. You got anything else, Dave?
Yeah, man. I think we are doing a subscriber giveaway for the next week.
Totally forgot about that. You do have something else.
From now until next Wednesday, new subscribers giving away this hoodie. You got one right here. See?
Yep.
Best on Tour branded AFCO Shadow. So nice hoodie. Simple. Go to bestontour.net. Sign up. You know, anybody who subscribes is a new subscriber.
Oh, this says Reaper.
the next week.
Is it Shadow or Reaper?
Either. I'm not sure, man.
It says Reaper on the thing you sent me.
Yeah, it's probably a Reaper. I got a Shadow right here. So
okay,
AFCO Reaper, which you need right now. It's cold. So.
And then how do they? Oh, so you'll just randomly choose one of the new subscribers.
Yeah, one of the new subscribers to sign up during the next week. We're gonna choose one, and you get a free AFCO Best on Tour hoodie. So that's easy to do, man. Once a week, like you said, every Thursday it comes out. That's all you're going to get from us. You're not going to get a bunch of offers. And
yeah, Scott, here's the deal. He said, can we unsubscribe and then resubscribe so we can be entered? And I have talked about this with Dave to be like, hey, I hate the contests that are only for new subscribers. So we will be mixing in. There's a new contest every month, right?
Yep. So
we'll mix in
some subscriber contests.
Exactly. There will be subscriber contests.
Yeah, for sure. So yeah, hopefully you don't unsubscribe, but if you do, you resubscribe. So either way, you're subscribed. So that's a good deal.
All right, Dave.
The last time I saw you was the Lake Hartwell Open, right?
Yeah, I've got. This is Dave's experience with me at the Lake Hartwell Open. I'm going to show this picture. So Dave jumps in my boat and makes like 10 casts because you fish as a co-angler, you cast a check. And I was dialed, like really, really dialed. And Dave was, this was Dave's experience with me in the Hartwell Open. Thumbs down. That's the only photo I have of us in the boat in the Hartwell Open. just Dave, just thumbs down, just sitting there.
Yeah, it's kind of cool though to see how dialed in you were. I mean, there was no doubt in my mind at that event, if you didn't get in your own way, you were going to do well.
Yeah, I kind of got in my own way, but not as much as I could have, I guess.
But that was a fun deal, man. Just kind of, I hadn't done that in so many years, and just jumping in the back of the boat with some of those guys and going fishing for a couple of days.
You said the only reason you signed up for that was for the 1 in 203 chance of drawing Jamie Rampy.
That was it.
You're like, hey,
well, Jamie
it's
Rampy,
worth the $600.
A couple other guys. Yeah, I mean, think about that. I mean, you draw a guy like that. I mean, you probably don't even fish. You just sit back and watch him do his thing. I mean, that guy's won so much money and been so successful in Lake Hartwell. It's worth it for a chance to get in the boat with a guy like that when, as a learning experience, right?
Yeah.
So,
yes, it does apply to people outside the United States, right? Like if someone wins it not in the United States, who signs up?
I don't know. We're not shipping.
Okay. I shouldn't have answered that. No, it doesn't. Not even Canada? Our friendly neighbors to the north?
We'll see.
We'll cross that bridge when we get there?
Yeah, we'll cross that bridge when we get there.
We gave away a bunch of AFCO stuff for with Mercer last night, and he's going to have to ship some stuff, bunch of stuff to
they got to clear customs?
The United States.
How does that work?
It's going to clear customs, but the good thing is I think he's got to sign most of it because most people are going to put it on the wall. I thought it would be cool. I want to have a day 3 classic worn shirt from Mercer from the MC. And then one of the listeners last night was like, and get one of the let's get ready to weigh him towels. Yeah. And then put it like on a wall and be like, hey, this is from day 3 of the 2023 classic, what Mercer wore on stage. He thought it was ridiculous. I think it would be cool because I'm going to get like Dean Rojas's pants and Fred Gattali's jersey. I'm just going to get an eclectic mix of bass fishing paraphernalia.
Are you going Blue Dickies?
They're the pants from, no, it's before that. They're the pants from when he broke the record. He's got his 45-2 pants in a box.
Okay. And you're going to get your hands on.
Yeah. I did find a quote where he said, when I caught the final fish, I crapped myself. But so I don't know if I really want those. But yeah, he said that there's like gnats embedded into them because there was like some like fly hat. Anyway, I thought it would be cool. He's got like a little engraver on that, and then some other jerseys in the area.
That'd be cool if he gives them up, man. You know, that's kind of
we'll see if I actually
nostalgic for him.
I offered to trade him a R2D2 toaster for a pair of his pants.
He might go for that if it was still in the box and original.
Yeah. All right. This is digressing rapidly. All right. So that episode, that stat will be in the Best on Tour that comes out.
Yep, on Thursday. Well, that'll be the stat for the week. Just wanted to give you guys a quick little preview of it. Yeah, I mean, a lot of stuff about to start happening, man. We're about to get really busy here. Florida's going to be, you know, a hotbed of activity as usual during the early spring for major events. So we'll have a lot of information coming out of those tournaments. And, you know, we appreciate everybody's support, everybody subscribing, and hope that everybody keeps giving us feedback on what they like to see in the newsletter.
All right. See, that wasn't that painful. Folks, Dave wasn't exactly thrilled with, I got to do this once a month. That was good stuff. You seemed enthusiastic. You seemed happy to be on the show. You did a good job.
Always good to talk to you, man. It was cool listening to Casey. Hadn't seen that guy in a while either.
Yep. Well, he'll be on all the Opens EQs. So, all right, Dave Rush. What?
Are you headed down to do some practicing at Lake Eufaula, or what's your deal?
It's off limits now. So
okay.
No, I will see the lake for 5 days. Yep. I'm just gonna go throw a shaky head. After Casey Ashley's shaky head show, I'm committed to the shaky head in 23.
Yeah, that was a show I did watch for sure. Interesting to see Casey's take on all that. Still thinks he can get it done with the shaky head. And
well, it makes a lot of sense.
It does.
He fishes it like a tube. It's like a tube and a Nico rig and a worm, and it's everything all in once, especially with the 1/8 and 3/16 that he uses.
Yeah,
good hookup ratio too. Weedless.
Some really good juice there from Casey Ashley. He kind of gave up a little bit more than I thought he would.
Yeah.
But good to hear from Casey too. That guy's an icon here in South Carolina for sure.
Oh yeah, I forgot he is your neck of the woods. You got tons of icons over there. South North Carolina just pumps out quality anglers. We've talked about that ad nauseum.
Yeah, it does, man. Like we're talking about with Casey, he's so versatile. You can go from clearwater stuff in the upper part of the state to tidal fisheries on the coast and everything in between. So,
can we get a stat over the last 5 years or 10 years or whatever? What percentage of top tour level days have been canceled or postponed?
I can look into it. As you well know,
that's a lot of work, Dave.
As you well know, it's more difficult to find information now as companies and tournament organizations switch over websites and things. A lot of that stuff kind of gets lost in the mix. You can do a lot, but you know it's hard to find everything, and I don't like putting out stats where I can't really verify it. So but I can definitely look into it. I think that'd be an interesting stat for sure.
Good stuff. All right. Anything else?
Nah, man. That's it.
All right. Thanks for hopping on, Dave.
All right. Good luck.
See you,
Matt. See you.
Thank you. All right. That was Dave Rush from Best on Tour, bestontour.net. Announcement tomorrow. You've asked for him. We got him. Brad Hallman makes his first appearance on BTL in the 2023 season. Now, there's a 50% chance he'll be sitting across from me. I just looked out my window this morning. You can't see the road. It's covered in ice. So there's also a 50% chance that he's going to do it from the friendly confines of his office. And then on Thursday, I mentioned it on yesterday's show. I try to keep the day 4 stuff on the day 4 stuff. There will be an update. Frank will be on. We're going to do a deep dive into boat handling. Todd, the prop guy, is going to come back on for a little bit more about like setting up your boat for maximum performance. But then we will have an update on the color number 7. And basically I'm just kind of waiting till Lurenet Pradco comes out with, you know, what they're going to do. Long story short, you guys basically broke the website trying to order it. So we'll go through all of that. The support is awesome from you guys. So big shout out to Casey Scanlon. Big shout out to Dave Rush. He did text me. It is a Reaper. Win a Reaper if you're not signed up, bestontour.net. And other than that, I got to get back over here and find my music. I think we are... Here we go. We're good to go. All right. This has been another edition of BTL Bass Talk Live. Brad Hallman tomorrow. We'll talk to everybody then.